Hello YouTube friends, welcome to the Red Parrot channel. I am your host Mary Ellen. Today we are going to do a craft with me, faffing around with paper and fabric, which were two of my favorite things. Hopefully we'll go for about an hour and potentially stop there, unless we get going, and it might go over. So, a couple of things. Recall this paper spool. I did a Google search. Not sure if you can see that, but it has the initials ATCO. That stands for the American Thread Company. And this is actually a purchase bobbins already spun with thread. I don't know if you can see how specifically the thread is wound. It's wound sort of on the diagonal, and when I wind my own bobbin, it sort of stacks this way. So that's one of the ways you can tell. But apparently this is a thing. You can buy them on Etsy. There's a whole host of them, shops that you can get them from, and I have learned something new. I have not yet tried this on the machine, but I certainly will do that at some point, and I will let you know the progress, but I am virtually certain that this will be a thing. So, learn something new. Awesome. Okay, so what do I need to do first? I need to do first is write out what are the things that we are going to do today. And of course, coming prepared, not really. I need a piece of paper. So, one thing I want to do is I want to finish part of the cover. Two, I want to be able to make, I still haven't figured out what that term is, but I will call them for now tear strips. And that sound you hear in the background is Lucy, who is the executive producer of the show, and she is asking for something. There you are. She wanted a door open, and that's my function here. So create tear strips, and then 3 is make pockets specifically. I have a way of creating more tags and journaling cards than I do creating pockets. And I have a bag here of template ideas that we can use for pockets. And making the pockets first ensures that when I actually go to fill the journal, I have not to go back and do some more pockets. So there we are. Put that neatly to the side, and just so you know, here is our paper bin, and here is our little basket of tools. Everything is ready for us, and I will show you what I have been doing with the cover. I made 2 covers. The first one is blank. I haven't done anything with it yet, but it is essentially quilted. You may recall that I showed you that this was a shirt that I bought specifically for this. This is also a men's shirt cut up. This is a scrap. This is actually a fat quarter that seemed to match very nicely in the colorway. And this was a, what do you call them? A cake piece? I don't know. They're 10 by 10s. And I got a couple of those. They were in my stash. They had some colors that seemed to suit me, and I used those. The washi tape that I have placed around should fit the outside of the cover, so I know my boundaries. I could also have done some threading. Washi tape is easier because it's just rip, 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 and I have an abundance of washi tape. So that was the one that I didn't use, and now I'll show you the one that I have started work on, which looks like this. Where's my needle? Here's my needle. And let's do a tour of what I have done. So a second verse, same as the first. Here is the outline of the book done in washi tape. So we know we have got the boundaries, everything we work is inside of that. As with all of my stitch projects, I start with an idea, and then once needle hits fabric, I get other ideas and I abandon them completely. So what can we start with? When I start with something blank, what I normally do is I just start stitching something to just get, it's kind of like when you are an artist and you break the white sheet of paper, you put a slob of paint on just so it's not white. It's the same kind of idea, but for embroidery. And I did a running stitch here, I did a running stitch here, I did some bits and pieces here, not necessarily knowing what the pattern is going to be. This is all sort of improvisational stitching where I don't really have a particular idea, I just start. So what are some of the things that I tried here? So let's start with this cross here. One of the channels that I listen to is The Last Homely House with Kate. She is a really wonderfully creative woman that does a lot of fabric work. She does quilting and spinning and knitting, and she makes food, and she has like a small piece of farm, and she does paper crafts, and she lives a lovely life. And one of the things she enjoys greatly is English paper piecing. Now she's done a very compelling and complex hexagonal English paper piecing project, and she is at the end of that, and she decided to do something new, and the new shape that she is using is these plus signs. Now the way she creates that is she uses this shape, which is kind of what we would think of as our banner shape, and then she puts those together like that to create a plus shape. And because this is a math journal, the plus sign is a math symbol, I thought that would be a useful thing to do. I don't want to make a whole quilt, but I would enjoy the practice of seeing how this shape turns out. Lots of resources on the internet to do English paper piecing. Essentially what you do is you take a small piece of fabric, this would be too big, and you basically fold the edges in, you baste that on, you get the shapes, you press them, and then you sew them together, and then you take the paper out, and then you can attach them together, or in my case, I just applicate it down. Another thing that I did was these 3 pieces, also some more demonstrations. So there is this stuff, which is called embroidery stabilizer wash away white. So this is a 10-yard roll, and what this stuff is very light. You could trace on it if you wanted to use this as transfer embroidery, but what I did was I laid down a bunch of scrap pieces, so I'd be laying them down like this, and like this, and so forth, and then fold this over, and then I stitched. I went this way, and then I went up and down, and the beauty about this is that this washes away. You just submerge it in warm water, and it almost instantly disappears, and then you are left with just the thread. Get that out of the way. Which in my case looked like this. I would do this again for sure, but I don't know if you can tell that I didn't put enough fabric down. So I've got spaces. So there's like holes here. There's like a gap here. It was more a proof of concept, but as I got going with it, it proved to be useful enough that I was able to use. So this is another really interesting way of being able to use all those itty bitty teeny tiny fabric scraps that you want to throw away. And you can if you want. There is no harm to doing that. It's just something interesting that you could do with those scraps. And so I have a piece here that I have just stitched down, a piece here that I've stitched down, and then a piece here that I've stitched down. This piece of jean is a deconstructed 100% cotton pair of jeans, and the color matches this quite nicely, and there is interesting texture to it. It's beautifully soft, it's well worn. It's another thrift store find, and sort of stitched on for color and to break up this large piece of blue that was there. So it looks far more interesting. The last thing that I think that I am doing is, where is it? Here it is. So I have this piece of fiber, string, wool, yarn, whatever you want to call it. It is generally spun and it's got these little poofy, fluffy things. And these would add a lovely texture. And you can see, certainly in this colorway here, it's a nice match. There's bits of pink, and I already have bits of pink in here, so it seems to be a nice blend. And that's what I am now just couching on. Couching is a really fast way of creating interest and putting pattern down on a piece of cover. I've pulled out a couple of things here. So this is a string from a rag mop, and it's just cutting the string off. So if you couch that down, the couching is quite quick. You would be able to do lots of interesting things with this as a large piece. Same thing with, where'd it go? This is just a tear seam off another shirt that has been broken down that you could easily stitch on. That doesn't look too bad, actually. I will consider that maybe for later. And then you can take pieces of fiber and then you can just sort of build them up to make them thicker if you want to be able to couch them down. So you don't necessarily need to do that high-end, very sophisticated embroidery to make something look interesting. The other thing that I do from time to time is I will use the pattern that is already there and do line work. So this zigzag stuff here is actually printed out, and then you can see here the two spikes, and it would go on here. I just haven't finished that piece. So you can take inspiration from what the fabric already is. In these waves, I could maybe have just, highlighted the waves with easy running stitch. And it, like I say, gives you interesting texture and color and so forth with not that incredible effort. And having said all that, I think that is the tour that we have so far. And what I wanted to do was finish off basting this little piece of couching. And there might be something else, but let us get started because, oh, I know, I wanted to put this down as well. I know where that's going to go. I can put it aside. So, all that to say, this is what we've got going this morning for doing some stitching and doing some craft with me. I'm very glad that you're here to keep me company. It's very nice to think that I have people out in the world that are doing the same thing, that are keeping me company. I know you are not here with me real time, but that's okay. I can imagine that you're here with me. And it's not such a lonely place anymore. And then I've gone completely silent after that whole big old burbly. It's a lovely day this morning. It is sunny. It is coolish, but still I think I would call it unseasonably warm for the beginning of November. Almost all the leaves have fallen, so there is one last rake around that needs to be done. And then we will have everything put to bed for the winter, I think. And then the next outdoor activity will be snow shoveling. But we have no snow yet, and I do not need the snow yet. I am quite happy not to have to shovel. Now, one of the things that I discovered with this particular yarn is if you accidentally catch the end fluff, it gets caught and wants to pull the whole thing in and ruin it. And so that's something you got to be careful with. I don't go into the knot, I try and go on both sides. And what I am doing with this is following the stitch line where the quilting has happened as just a place. There's no necessarily art involved. It's just, okay, well, let's just follow those lines. And that's what improvisational stitching is. I got most of my improvisational ideas from somebody on YouTube called Ariane Zurcher, Zurcher, and she is a New York-based artist. She is also left-handed, and so that is an interesting aspect of her stitching. If you are looking for a resource and you are left-handed and a stitcher, and even if you are just a stitcher, she has some incredible pieces of work that she does. Lots of interesting techniques, lots of interesting thread types and what you can do with them. She has online courses as well that she provides. And like I say, I learned an awful lot about not worrying about a lot of stuff. And that has helped me tremendously in my pursuit of just stitch it. Like, we don't need to worry. We don't need to have a cross stitch. We don't need to have a canvas. You can just take some interesting fabric and have at her. And that seems a lot less stressful. And one of her techniques is to just take I think she calls it like a backwater corner, and just do some knots. And then just to break in the fabric, get comfortable with it. And then ideas start to form, and then you do another patch, and then you notice something else. And it's like, oh, I want to try this thread on this spot, and then off you go. And she does much larger scale work than journal covers, and journal covers are a beautiful scale for this kind of stuff. Now, did I cut this? I cut this, and I think I wanted to do that, but I could do that, and we get both of them bumping into one another. Oh, that's why. So I can do one of two things. I can go right or left. Right, I'm gonna go left. No reason, just I'll do it that way. Actually, that's a lie. I think the reason why is because it would bump into my applique cross, and I want to keep that sort of as a standalone unit, at least for now. Reserve the right to change all that. I hope everybody is doing well today, or well as to be expected under the circumstances. I'm trying to think of what I have to do later today. I'm going out for dinner with friends, which is going to be nice. Going for a walk, which is also going to be nice. There we are. I'll just finish this off. I might get up to doing some experimentation with the marbling today. I have to have a proper read of the package, of course, which is not something I have a strong history of doing. Reading the instructions seems always to be bit of an early bother, time waster while we get to the good stuff, but I understand how useful it is to actually understand what it is that you're going to do before you do it, to do a little bit of dress rehearsal, at least sort of a practice in terms of, okay, we're going to do this, then we're going to do that, then we're going to do this, stage some of the pieces up front, and it makes the whole production a whole lot easier. And if you'll notice, I have on my scissors a very small magnet, and that's what the magnet is for. So I can put it on my needle and I don't lose it. Okay, so we want to do this. We can do it this way, or we can do it that way. I think that way's better. And yes, I know I'm covering that up, and that's okay. I don't mind that at all. And that's probably where we want to put it. There we are. So we'll get that done. And then I may more or less have what I would call this cover done-ish. And it's got some nice texture, just some nice interest to it. I need to thread this. So there we are. And this is some basic DMC thread. It is 3-ply, and I cut up my cereal boxes to be able to create some nice spools. You can buy them on Amazon or on AliExpress if you want. This is just a fun fussy cut for me. I normally have the DMC thread. This might not have been DMC, it might have been something else. It might have been an unmarked fiber, in which case I wouldn't put anything down on it at all, and then just wind it up so it's available for easy use. Where'd I put it? You just saw me put it down. There it is. And we've threaded. Yes. Oops. And this is a quilter's knot, which is just taking the end, wrapping it around a couple of times, and then pulling it through so you've got a knot. And then I start somewhere and I do something. Whatever whimsy I've got, and I think I'm just gonna, well, base this on if there isn't a knot. I always have my threads too long because threading again and threading again and threading again makes me crazy. So I am willing to fight with the thread to not do that. There are a lot of people who don't like fighting with thread, in which case, clip a smaller piece of thread. Here. When I was thinking about this cover, I was thinking it was going to be a lot more, what do we want to say, geometric, clean, not this more sort of organic and abstract looking cover. And the harmony between the front of the cover and what's inside, I think it is going to be the color, the colorway, and potentially this plus sign. Recall I bought some small plastic triangles and bits from a geometry set to mount. Completely forgot about them until I was well into doing this, and I didn't want to stop because I was already down the road of doing this. So we will see if the inside cover can do with one of these. We can only hope. This goes fairly quickly. We nearly got this patch done. And you can see I am not doing anything particularly precise. I think that's the word I want to use. I am just having at her. Stitchy, stitchy. And I think people sometimes don't value the doing of something. It's like, oh, it's not perfect, so I won't even try. It's like if you have the entirety of a piece that is all of a hand, like this, there is a harmony in it just because it comes from the same hand. There is the same stitch type, the same style. That's what we value when we see antique quilts and we see antique needlework and so forth. It all comes from a hand and we value it. And we can create that ourselves. We just have to try. Here we are, it's all the way around. And then when I end, I just do 1, 2, 3, and sometimes 4, and then cut. And then I think we are done. We're done this bit anyways. So we have our cover. Let's have a look and see what this will look like. There we are. So it is going to look something like that. Well, with the bits folded in, and that's going to look fine. And there'll be enough space to be able to fold it over and to be able to do a cover. So the way I'm going to glue this is I'm going to do probably back to front. I will take this entire panel and I will use like a fabric tack and I will put this on. And then I will let that dry. Then I will do this gully. Then I will do the spine, then this gully, and then the back. And that's so that I can be very precise about being able to get a good adhesion, good seal, make sure that the valleys are done well. It takes a little bit more time, but it is, I think you get better adhesion and a better cover. So it's gonna look like that. And it's gonna have a nice hand feel. It's gonna have these little puffy things and some visual interest. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So that was, finishing part of the cover, the tear strips. Next is the tear strips. Now, what do I want to do with that? And I apologize, I can't remember what the name of this is that I'm so desperately, pardon my Barney Horse reach, trying to create a word for. I'm going to use some of this. What else am I going to use here? Get that out of the way. Oh yes, okay, do this. So I suggested that I was going to use some sheets from the newest LCBO, and I have saved my hazelnut brownie shortbread bars recipe and my Grandma Kaya's chocolate fudge cake. Those are going to be baked. And so I'm going to use this as the base, and then I have 3 pages that I have pulled. I have this one, this blue, and this blue. And I'm going to use that as collage as well as some other pages that I have created. There is that one. Some math tables. This is for envelopes. That's for envelopes. And some interesting pages that I may or may not use, but can, ooh, that would be a nice fussy cut to cut out. Might be a bit bold, put that aside. More shapes that we could fussy cut out, more shapes, and this here is from Studio Lou's latest kit, which is really, really pretty. It's available on Etsy. It looks not like it should because my red ink ran out. Red or my yellow, one or the other. In any event, it doesn't look quite like this, but that's where the image has come from. She has a lot of really beautiful kits on her Etsy store. And so if you're interested, please go check her out. And that's at Studio Lou. Okay, so what are we doing here? I need a strip of paper first. So let us try 2 inches, 2.5. I'll do 2.5 because that's some capacity. I think I told you last time, got a new blade. Very happy with that. Let's do a second one. Do a second one that's smaller. I'm going to keep that circle because I think I want it. And that's going to be a 2-inch strip. Fair enough. Here we are. So we have 2 strips. Now, who did I see doing this? I saw, oh, I know who I saw doing this. So a lot of people have made tear strips or these kind of strips. But the last person that I saw do this was Kathy Holden, who is a fabric designer and who has now branched into doing journaling friendly stuff. I need my glue book, hilariously. Be right back. There we are. Got my glue book now. Now then, what I should do maybe is tear these up first. So I am going to get rid of the white. And I am literally just, do I want to do it that way or do I want to tear it? Let's try tear it. Yeah. I'm going to keep that because it's an interesting thing. And the same with the bow. And Kathy Holden's video is on Scrapbooking.com, I think is the YouTube channel. Okay, I'm gonna have a lot. That's okay, that's the whole point. What's more of this? Here. Should probably tear it all up, but I'm not going to. Nice blue. We've got just a straight piece of blue. Another dark color. There. I'm going to put that in the bin. And now this. See what I mean about having such just stretches of just spectacular color. One of the interesting photography things that you can see here is they have blurred the background, so they have a very tight focus on sort of the feature of the photograph. And that blurring effect, once you further take the context out, you can't tell what the thing is, you just see the color, which is something I really appreciate. And I'm gonna super fussy tear this because I like that blue and I don't have a lot of it. And it will be a fun bit. So I'm trying to think of what Kathy did. She stuck on paper, then she glued it down. She stamped it. I think she might have put some washi tape down. She might have put something else down that escapes my memory at the moment, which is not a huge surprise because I have a poor memory for a whole variety of reasons. And then she sewed it, which is kind of where I got the idea for the fabric sewing. Okay, so we should be able to make something out of all of this. So let us take strip one. We've got a glue book here. You can probably... Now there's your problem. See, that's blue. I like that blue. Glue it down. Just pick a spot. Focal points, that will be the other thing. And so I've got some focal points as well that are kind of math related, which is useful. And thematic, I guess that's what we would call it. Okay, I'm just gonna do this. Might be a little bit easier. There we are. And I'm randomly going outside. Oh dear, it's a big glob. Randomly going on the outside. And making it even larger, which hopefully will make it more interesting and cover real estate. Here we are. There's that color. I want another one of these turquoise things. There, that's a good one. There. That's sticky. Here. Put this on my glue book. Let's put some brown down. Brown might have been the color we should have started with. I don't know. We didn't, so we're not going to worry about it. I went looking for my, looking for a pair of snowshoes. There must have been some kind of sale on at Canadian Tire because the lineup to cash out was ridiculous. I couldn't find any snowshoes. So, well, they are either out of stock or they are not stocked yet. I have got a friend on alert to go look for a kind. I gave her some specifications of what I was looking for. Basically a simple, straightforward, beginner pair of snowshoes. And she is one of my best friends. She is an elite athlete. And so her shopping for sport equipment is something that she loves to the power of the sun. So part of the delegation of work is essentially get the right person for the job and the job will be done well. And she is 100% the right person for the job. So I will wait to find out which ones I need to get. I don't think they're going to be particularly expensive. That's what I say now. But we shall see. What else do we want? No. Okay, I don't need to beat this Peggy. There. There we are. And then what's the other color? I pushed it all together. Oh, no, it's this one. This actually looks like the top of a bottle. So I'm just gonna do that, make it a bit of a base. Hopefully it will get covered. So I have essentially created a frill of the sticky outy ends. And I do believe that sticky outy is a technical term that junk journalers use. And it's going to make it big, but that's okay. This is something, it is a base. It is not a final product necessarily. I'm running out of glue. I'm going to need a new glue stick in very, very near future, like right now. So, be right back. When I start these, I always think, oh, I am so prepared. And then I get into it, and then I realize, no, not so much. You didn't check all the things. There we are. Let glue stick down, another glue stick up. And where are we going to put this one? This one down the center, I think. Here we are. I'll do this one. There. So that is our first layer, I think. Second thing she did was she put in some fussy cutting. So I'm just gonna stack all this neatly over to the side. And the first fussy cut thing I want to do is a couple of these. And I want to get down here. So these are jelly printed images that I created, paper. And I am still new at the jelly printing thing, so I didn't put a base down. I just put this over top and I got a shape. Sometimes getting a shape is the best you can hope for. So this just looks like a kind of a plus sign, kind of an interesting polygon. And certainly be light enough so that if I stamp on it, you'll be able to see it. Now I was stressing about not having any math specific stamps to get, and I was worried about, you know, that's not great. What should I do? And then I realized I have numbers. We can use numbers. Numbers will be perfectly fine. Numbers will be awesome. And I've got a nice batch of thrifted stamps that I got a while back, and they included some Mondo big numbers and some fancy lettering, and sometimes you don't need the whole alphabet. You just need letters or numbers, or give the impression of. I do hope the threading is gonna, or the sewing on top of this is gonna spice it up, because this just looks not the most attractive thing I have ever made. There we are. And then one, that's better. I think what's wrong is that I went overboard, I think, on the fins. That's okay. Live and learn. So we have a tear strip started. What I will also have to do is do the stamping, do the sewing, and then do some focal points at the end. So I am mindful of our time and the 3 objectives that we have of doing 3 things. I want to make at least 1 pocket, if not more. So we will scratch out the tear strips because we have got one done. Yay us. Here we are. Here we are. I'll put this with my journal. Stack these up neatly in a pile. And put them to the side if I can get it scooped all the way up. There we are. And what do I want to do? I want to do pockets. So I had thoughts about pockets. So I am not going to do a pocket yet. And thus you can see my problem. I want to tear these up because this will be a journal card, and I want to make a small fold-out book with this. Let's use this one. Because this way I can make it even. Evenish. Here. This actually was a failed experiment that I had. I was trying to do, you can take magazines and then you can place them down on a jelly print, pull it off, and then you get the residual image. This did not work at all. And I am still working on being able to refine that technique. It is not easy. I think one of the issues is I always have way too much paint. And so all I do is I just do this, pull off the paint, and there's no ability for the image to absorb the paint and then leave a relief behind. And the other thing is I do it too quickly. I just like slop, and the paint needs a little bit of time. So that's that. And then I'm going to do this as tight as I can. I'm going to take it this little taut as well, because people who are math people start off as children at some point. I've got those 3 pieces. And see, this is what happens. This is totally what happens. This right here is exactly what happens. I have fun images and I do a bunch of things and it's like, oh yeah, I have no pockets. Why not? Because I haven't made any pockets. My stars and garters. Here's one of the things that I want to do. Okay, so once again, be right back. Okay, so I saw Gail Agostinelli create a circle pocket. And essentially what she did was, step 1, cut out a circle. So let us do that. That was a 7-inch plate, 7-inch circle. Oh, look at that, there's lines. I think we all watch a lot of other videos to get inspiration and ideas and so forth. And I am so distracted by new techniques and the idea of, ooh, I want to try that. And I never get anything as a mass to use in a journal. I just have all of these bits and pieces. And so I think I've said before, one of the reasons why I started this channel was hopefully give me some focus, some reason to be able to finish something. And so being able to copy somebody, their technique, and then actually have it for a journal that I am working on, I think I would consider that progress in any event. So what are we doing here? We're trying to find the midpoint. So 7.5, 7 is 3.5. So what did she do? Three. There we are. And then 3 over, so that's 1. Is that what she did? Don't follow me, I'm lost too. Well, we'll try this. She cut something. What did she cut? She cut these 2 sides, I think. If she didn't, So she has, yes, okay, so she had, this is one option. So you have a pocket in the back and you have a pocket in the front. And there is this as an option as well, I think, which is pocket 1, 2, 3, 4. I kind of like this better. No particular reason. Is there a particular reason? Yes, there is a particular reason. They've got lines there, and that just makes me happy. So there is white space here, and I might want to color that. So I could line it, or I could just leave it white. Not sure what I want to do, so we will just say that I have a pocket done, and I will reserve the right to glue it later. What's another thing that we can do with this? So we can for sure now, that just doesn't look like a good idea. Let's take this out of the way. There we are. And I'm just going to specifically get this square. There we go. And then all the way down. And the last piece is just taking off that edge trim. Okay, now what did I want to do? I wanted to do corner pockets. What's the holdup? The holdup is thinking, maybe? Let's try that. I want to get 2 corners out of this. That's what I'm trying to do. Oops, careful. There we are. There's 1 corner. And then, so I am lining the corner up with the 45-degree angle here, so I can get a clean angle. Now I'll have that curve. Maybe all right. There we are. Ha, ha, ha. I knew there was geography for it. There we are. And then I want to do a straight line down from there. This, I think, is the dream reason why I love doing paper crafting with a quilting grid. Because it's got the angles, it's got the straight edge, it gives me all of the things that I am looking for. So, what do we have for time? We are at the hour mark. So I am going to stop here. I'm going to let you go. Did we hit all our goals? We did. We finished the partial part of the cover. We were able to create a tear strip here, and we were able to make 3 pockets. So yay us. Good job. Thank you very much for keeping me company. Today has been a craft with me, which is faffing around with paper. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more episodes, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.